I said, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop talking to me. Don't stop giving me things.
Alright guys, so welcome back to AOR. This is the GT3 Season 16 Tier 2 Championship on Project Cars 2. And as you can see by the title, this is my debut in AOR GT3. I have driven in AOR F1 leagues for a couple of years, but this is my first time in AOR in a different game. So yeah, there's a friend of mine, Jelte, who is in this race as well. He basically recommended this to me. He drove in this championship last year as well. And yeah, a new championship. Of course, I have a bit of experience with GT3 racing on this game in the SRL GT3 Intercontinental Championship. So yeah, for this series I've picked the Mercedes-AMG GT3, and this is qualifying. I think it's a 10 or 15 minute session. I went out a bit late because I was still fiddling with the setup and everything. But this is now my first flying lap, coming up to the line at 47.3, which currently puts me in 12th position with 4 minutes to go, so we can still do a couple of laps. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this championship. On my second lap, I improved by quite a bit, 145.4 now, which actually puts me up into second place. And then yeah, on my final flying lap, I didn't have enough fuel, and there wasn't enough time to continue for one more lap, so I decided to bring it back into the pit lane. And surprisingly, we are still in second position with 30 seconds to go, which was much higher than what I expected. I did some private testing for this race to practice a bit and get the setup right, but I never actually practiced with someone from AOR, so it was a complete mystery as to what my pace was like. And in the end, we actually qualify in the top 3, third position on the grid, which was very, very surprising. I definitely wasn't expecting to be that far up. And actually that lap time would have been pretty decent even in the Tier 1 league. So yeah, the pace seems to be pretty good. Ever since the SRL GT3 race at Indianapolis, something seems to have clicked with the GT3 cars for me. And the pace is pretty good. Especially in Zolder as well in SRL, the final race. But yeah, for this race I decided to put as much fuel in the car as possible to not have to refuel, because there is a mandatory pit stop, but I want to save time in the stops by not having to refuel, and also I'm not going to change my tires, so I'm literally just going to have a 1 second pit stop without changing anything, because I think that's the quickest way to go, because of course I am going to be a little bit slower because of the heavier fuel load, but I think that compensates for the time that you lose in the pit lane when you do have to refuel. Same with the tires. So yeah, the race is gonna not start just yet, because don't be fooled here, the race isn't underway just yet, because in AOR the way the races start is a little bit different. So this is now technically the first lap, but it kind of isn't. This is the formation lap, and the race is gonna start on lap 2. So I think that's to avoid drivers getting penalties and stuff like that, because this game can be a little bit funny with that sometimes. So yeah, this is just the formation lap, and it's basically like a safety car situation. So as soon as the leader now decides to go, the race will be underway, which needs to be before the finish line. So it's a 2x2 formation, and the leader has decided to put the throttle down, and away we go for my first race in AOR GT3 into turn 1. Then very, very difficult corner, probably the most difficult corner of the circuit, because it's very easy to lock up the rear tires or to overshoot it a little bit. So yeah, luckily we stay in third position with 2 Audi R8s in front of us, of course the car that I was using in the SRL GT3 Championship. So yeah, we'll be looking to see if we can stay with these 2 leaders. And of course the slipstream as well is a pretty big factor in this game and in this class, as second position tries to take a bit of a different line. He took a wide line into the corner, now is a better exit and actually takes over the lead briefly, but the other Audi will have the inside for the next corner, but actually the other guy hangs it around the outside. So yeah, let's hope they'll keep battling with each other, because of course that can help me out trying to capitalize on it as well. We actually do have a very good run on the straighter, and we are on the inside coming into this bus stop, but I braked a little bit cautiously there. I didn't want to do anything silly, and I actually going around the outside of the other guy up into second position now. So yeah, we somehow made up one spot out of that. Up into P2, still on, well, kind of the first lap, but the second lap in the game. Let's just assume that it is 35 laps, even though it is 34 race laps. Anyway, onto the start of lap 3 then. We are very nicely in the slipstream there of the outdoor right. We go to the outside as we go into turn 1. Can we brake later than him? As we try to hang it on the outside and lock up the rear tires and lose the back end. Massive slider into the corner. And on the exit as well, unfortunately, lost us one position and a lot of time. But luckily, we have managed to keep it in a straight line, pretty much. And we didn't actually spin out, so didn't lose us that much time. Back then into P3 then, as another Audi R8 has taken advantage of my mistake there. So to the end of lap 3 then, we are improving on our lap time, obviously, since the previous one was kind of the first one. And onto the start of lap 4, we once again have a bit of a run into turn 1, but decided to not take any risk this time, as actually the guy in front of us runs a bit wide and we slide on through into second position. Very nicely done there, just about without contact, I believe. And now we can chase after the leader once again. Onto lap 5, into turn 1 once more, trying to get it stopped pretty nicely there. And we have closed in a little bit on the leader. And yeah, you can see the lap times as well on the bottom left. Just gradually improving, but that's to be expected since we are still very early on in the race. And yeah, the car is feeling pretty good, to be honest. I quite like this circuit as well. I have done one league race here before in the SRL IMSA LMP2 Championship, where I did a 2.4 hour race around here. Unfortunately, I finished last in that race, a couple of laps down, because I couldn't change my tires, because that was my very first league race on this game. So yeah, not a nice memory around here, but you know, that you know, the SRL IMSA Championship really helped me a lot in just learning about this game and getting used to the league racing, because I made so many mistakes in that series that I won't make again. Well, at least I hope I won't. Including the final race of the season, I think in Road America, where I accidentally put a driver swap on and ruined my race that way. So yeah, you can visually see that we are closing in a little bit on the leader, again improving on my personal best lap delta. And yeah, it seems to be, we are a little bit quicker. So that's actually pretty surprising, because I do believe that the car in front of me is running less fuel than me, because he is actually planning to refuel. I think most drivers are. So we are running with a lot of fuel in the car. But despite that, we are seemingly on the pace. Again, we've taken a little bit of time out of his lead. And into turn 1, you can see we just close up. We seem to carry a little bit more speed through the corners, and that's very motivating. When you're behind someone and you actually see that you're chasing him down, then that just motivates you even more to just push and try and close that gap. As we're on lap 6 now, skipping ahead a little bit, you can see again when coming up to the bus stop again, we are definitely closing up in the slipstream now as well. Actually, I think we've passed the bus stop. We are on to the start of lap 7 now. Again, improving my personal best, and we are definitely caught up now as we break down into turn 1. He runs a little bit wide, but we actually follow him wide. And yeah, said it before, turn 1 is so difficult to get right. And especially when you're behind someone, of course, in the slipstream, that also makes it more difficult to slow down. Because you have greater speed, of course, and also you don't have as much resistance from the air slowing you down. So on to lap 7, coming towards the end of it. We are now in the slipstream once again. You can see that we've just got more speed on the straight to help with the slipstream, of course. And onto the final corner then, we're going to open up lap 8. We're going to try it on the outside once again. Almost touching there. Again, improving my personal best lap time. Into turn 1 then, on the outside. Can we brake later? We run very wide. Once again, we just can't get it past the leader, as we do have a pretty good exit. We're going to go to the inside, which turns to the outside for this corner. Can we be the last of the late breakers this time? No, we can't. He's got the inside once again. And we just can't seem to get into the lead of this race. We have pulled away from P3 though by quite a bit. So it seems to be a head-to-head duel between me and this SF guy. I can't remember his full name, but anyway, it is looking to be a pretty nice battle. So we try and get a good exit out of here as well. But we just, yeah, can't seem to get it past this time. So let's try again um, on the second lap, because we do seem to have the advantage on the straight every time. Of course, probably because of the slipstream. I don't know if it's maybe also setup related. Coming through the bus stop once again, trying to get a good exit. It always feels like I cut the corner there, but you can get away with cutting it a little bit without getting a penalty. So once again, good exit in the slipstream. We're gonna go to the outside again because it keeps covering off the inside line, but we don't seem to have as much overspeed at this point. So we're now side by side as we're coming up towards the start-finish line to open up lap 9. This time we seem to be in front completely before we break them into turn 1. So can we this time hold on to the lead on the brakes then? He brakes later than us up the inside. I get a slowdown penalty as well or something like that. And or I think I had to give back the position because I was on the outside of the track. And again, I just can't seem to hold on to the lead. It gets us back once again. And demotes us down into second position. Again, exit of the bus stop. Lap 9 this time. Can we this time actually properly take the lead of this race for the first time? On the outside once more. He seems to be able to defend it this time, although we have a slight bit of overspeed as we go into the start-finish straight. Well, not quite yet. We're gonna break that into the bus stop first of all. I keep confusing those two parts of the tracks because it's very similar. We tried it on the outside, but he had the inside and braked a little bit later. I was a little bit cautious there as well because it's a very awkward piece of the circuit to run side by side. But this time then, in the slipstream, up into 6th gear. And this time we seem to have the overspeed once more. We're gonna have to go to the outside again. We are side by side as we come into the final corner. And it seems we seem to be in front once again, but can we this time hold on as we go into turn 1? I'm gonna try to brake as late as I can, but still he has the inside. I run wide again, but we're gonna try to hang it on the outside this time. Good exit, inside for this kink. Here's the inside for the second one, but we can maybe dive up the inside into this corner. No, we can't. Again, I just can't seem to hold on to the lead of this race. Through the bus stop once again. And we get a pretty good run out of there. I feel like I gain time always coming through that corner. Up my previous lap delta once again. And almost like deja vu, we're going to try it on the outside again. And this time we seem to be slightly quicker. We're already going to get in front before we get to the final corner. You can see him in the mirrors there. And so this time we may be in front by a couple of tenths. And hopefully we can actually hold on to the lead as we again set up personal best lap of the race. Into turn 1, I tried to take a tight line to defend the inside. And he's going to try it on the outside this time. But we seem to finally hang on to the lead. And now on lap 12, we are into the lead properly for the first time in my first AOR GT3 race here in Tier 2. And we have actually held on to the lead for a couple of corners now. So we can now control the pace. Which is very nice indeed. And of course we will have the advantage in the pit stops because my pit stop is going to be a lot shorter. Into turn 1 then on lap 13. There's a car actually that was spun around and I just saw it on time. Managed to avoid him. But again, it has cost me the lead because I had to avoid to the outside, run wide, and I think the guy behind me actually took a tighter line and was able to get past me again. So we find ourselves in second position. But okay, we know that we have the pace now, and I think I pulled away a little bit by a couple of tenths, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this battle will unfold over the course of the race, because we've still got quite a long way to go. Lap 13 out of 35. Again, on the outside, coming up towards the start-finish line. We're gonna try to get it done as we start lap 14, but he will have the inside into turn 1, and I just can't seem to brake as late. I'm just very weak into the brake point of turn 1, but he actually runs wide, he overshoots the corner. He had a bit of a step of oversteer, I think, on the entry there of turn 1, and we take over the lead. Again, lap 15. We just can't seem to shake him off into turn 1, then he goes up the inside once again. We're gonna try to get a bit of a cutback line, better exit. Gonna turn to the inside for this little kink here, but we'll have the outside for the braking zone here. Into turn 4, can we hang a bit of contact there? But yeah, we're on the wrong side. And once again, we tried to get a bit of a cutback line. And I think we are now pretty much side by side. He will have the inside for this corner, but we will have the inside for the second one if we can hang it on the outside. And we do up the inside here into this corner. And once again, we take over the lead. So it's shaping up to be a pretty nice battle here with this SF guy. And yeah, luckily we are leading again. It's now lap 15, so we are gonna, I think we're gonna pit around the midway point of the race, so around lap 17, just to balance it out a little bit. But it doesn't really matter when, because I'm not gonna change my tires nor fuel. So, you know, it doesn't really matter if I pit now or on the penultimate lap. But anyway, we're coming up towards a lap car as well. I'm not sure what he's doing. He actually spins across the track right in front of me, and we both luckily just about managed to avoid him, so that was a little bit scary. By the way, Jelte, who was also in this race, I mentioned him at the start, he unfortunately got caught up in an incident around lap 3, and he had a lot of damage, so he had to pit for repairs, and he was in the pit lane stationary for about 3 minutes, so he was a couple of laps down after that. Onto lap 16. I'm gonna pit on this lap. You can see I've requested a stop, and I open up the MFD as well to just make sure the strategy was right and that I had swap driver turned off. But unfortunately, you might have noticed it there. I accidentally turned the driver swap on, and I didn't notice it because the thing is, on my wheel I've got like a bit of a funky switch, or a no, I'm not sure what to call it, but I don't have a proper D-pad. So it's a switch, and it's really easy to accidentally turn it left or right instead of up and down. And so I accidentally did that. And you're gonna see, I mean, you probably know what's gonna happen. It's gonna ruin my race. So at this point I didn't know about it. I was completely unaware of the driver stop that I accidentally turned on. So we come into the pits. It's gonna be a very quick stop. I'm not gonna change anything. Apart from, I think I repaired the brake disc or something, because you do have to change something in order to make it a valid pit stop. And at this point, an AI had taken control. Now, I started to panic a little bit because I had flashbacks to Road America LMP2. But at this point, I was like, okay, maybe there is some kind of pit assist which wasn't there before. But you know, let's just wait until I actually am back on track, because maybe this is just some kind of automatic pit lane exit thing. But yeah, we're gonna come into the circuit, and an AI is controlling my car at an incredibly slow pace. And at this point, I knew what has happened, and I was just furious with myself. I just couldn't believe it. At first, I was furious at the game because wasn't sure. I didn't even know that I turned it on. I couldn't believe it, so I actually checked on my live stream, and I saw that I accidentally turned it on. And the AI did it went so slowly around the circuit, so I had to pit again. I've just lost about a minute or something, or maybe even more, because yeah, I think the AI difficulty is on the lowest possible setting, so it just took so much time to make it round, and I had to pit again. So we are now back into ninth position. Not sure where that guy is going, but this has just completely messed up my race, and it's so unfortunate. I yeah, went for a spin as well. At this point, I just started to overdrive, and I didn't really care anymore. But actually, I forgot to mention it. The guy I was battling with at the start of the race, he actually spun just before I pitted. So I actually had about a 6 or 7 second lead. So I was already mentally prepared to actually win the race, as I once again go for a bit of a half spin there to turn 1. Lose the record completely. I was also picking up all sorts of penalties as we have now caught up with some of the other drivers. I just couldn't give. I just didn't care anymore, and I kept cutting as we go up the inside of the Ferrari here. I kept cutting the bust-up chicane as the Ferrari actually gets back up the inside, so I do have a bit of a battle. So yeah, I have picked up a lot of penalties. You can see it on the top left, and into turn 1 now on the side of lap 28. You know, the Ferrari actually spins in front of me, so that's a free position again. You know, at this point, I didn't really care where I finished. I was just so annoyed that I could have won. I could have won my first race in AOR GT3. I was already thinking about, you know, maybe signing up for Tier 1 next year, or maybe, you know, it's just so unfortunate. But, you know, picking up another penalty for group measure, I caught up with another Audi, and I spin it into turn 1. tried to reverse and get back going. I accidentally turned on my windscreen wipers and I get hit up the back twice, which gives me damage as well. I'm so sorry to the guy behind me because that was completely my fault. And you know, this race is just going to from bad to worse, really. And we're not gonna score a lot of points, unfortunately. Not sure what that guy's doing as well. It's now the final lap. Luckily, I am still on the lead lap. As we cross the line, we finish in 7th position. So yeah, it's disappointing, but hopefully it's never gonna happen again. But the thing is, I even double checked. I opened MFD to double check. I didn't have it turned on. What do? I turn it on. Anyway, it's 7th place for my eighth place even because of the penalties for my first race in AOR GT3. And you know, even on the forums, especially that guy I was battling with at the start of the race, he was asking like, what happened? What happened to Nick? Because suddenly he just dropped back. And so I had to explain on the website like, yeah, I had it turned on the drive shop. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, let's hope we can have a bit of a better result in the next round, which is going to be in Bathurst. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one for the second round in Mount Panorama. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.